Well, if you've ever had to have your car repaired, you know how expensive it can be.
So which are the most costly car repairs? How can you avoid them? Well, our Monday morning mechanic, David Rogers, is in from Keller Brothers Auto Repair, live with some of the answers. Hi, David.
Hey, Tom. How are you doing, Natalie?
Good.
Hey, AAA came out this week with a press release saying that these are the 4 most common causes for them getting that old phone call looking for a tow and for consumers to have to shell out big bucks. We talk about fluids all the time, but let's talk about exactly what happens when you don't take care of them. We'll start out with transmission fluid here. You know, your transmission fluid's supposed to be red and clear. AAA reports that if your fluid's not clear, then you're risking having one of the most expensive repairs possible, and that's with a transmission. These things can go upwards of $3,000–4,000 today. This is just the clutch, and you can see how the disc is actually coming apart on this clutch. I mean, this thing is toast. And, you know, again, it's a matter of fluid and maintenance. It's a matter of not resting your foot on the pedal as stops. But most importantly, most inexpensively, you can go and get that fluid, get a full transmission fluid flush, and have them check the operation of your clutch before you end up getting stranded like this motorist did. Next to the clutch, what we have here are actually brake rotors, and this is the part that's actually attached to your hub, you know, where your wheel is, and it spins with the wheel. And when you step on the brakes, the little pads grab the rotor. And this thing should be glass smooth. You can see the back of this pretty slick, pretty smooth, and you can see the front, how it's really scored and ground up. And what that's from is from a brake pad that's worn out, and someone didn't go and get those brakes checked frequently enough, and so it ends up scraping the metal off. You can see this one's much worse. The whole thing actually peeled apart, and there's hardly any of this left. So that becomes a dangerous situation. That's far beyond an expensive repair. Of course, that's going to cost anywhere from, you know, $150 a wheel to get those replaced, and the pads all the way up to maybe $800 or $1,000. So pretty expensive, you know. And again, brake fluid should be nice and clear. It looks a little bit like oil. When it starts to get dirty or black, it's actually destroying the system. This is only part of what it can destroy. It can destroy all kinds of hydraulics. It can destroy the container that holds the fluid and all the lines. It's a nasty, dangerous mess, and a brake fluid flush, about $100, $120 nowadays. Well worth the money to make sure you're safe. Engine oil is another one. I've got a ugly one for you today. This is some engine oil taken. If you look at the different colors you see down at the bottom here, how it looks kind of grainy, well, what that is, folks, is that's metal. That is steel from the inside of the engine. You can see that those metal shavings basically have, you know, permeated the oil and settled to the bottom. This is oil that was in a vehicle that was only 40,000 miles old. It was just a few thousand out of warranty. The consumer was using longer, extended times between oil changes. We've all heard, oh, you can wait 10,000, 20,000 miles with synthetic oil, and what we find here is that that man had to replace an engine at 40,000 because he went a little too long. Finally, coolant. Coolants, we think of antifreeze a lot this time of year, and the big thing with coolant is it can look okay. We've talked about it before. You look in a little reservoir and it's nice and green and it looks pretty. This looks pretty too. But when the engine starts up and it's running, down in the bottom of the engine where you can't see it, there's rust going to work on everything and chewing up that motor. Now you're looking at anywhere from $2,500 to $12,000. So, folks, don't neglect these fluids. Listen to AAA. And if you don't have a membership to AAA, you might want to consider one. Free towing is a real benefit in case you have neglected the vehicle.
Looking at all that stuff, and I think I'm going to get rid of my car.
It's not that bad, stress. Tom. Bring them in one at a time. You can take care of them one at a time for you.
Yeah.
Them? Yeah. I don't have a fleet. I just have one. All right.
David, thank you.
Thank you, David.
We'll be back. Stay with us.